Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shootin' Show, and welcome again to this week's program. I think we have another great show for you, and please, I'd like to give another welcome to those new viewers seeing us on the Outdoor Channel. We're so glad to be with you. We hope that you're enjoying our program as much as we are bringing it to you. Well, friends, you know, it looks like we're going to have this Brady bill, and trust me on this one, it won't be long. Of course, there's already been an effort in Congress, and we really don't know what the outcome's going to be yet on what the so-called assault rifle. This is not an assault rifle. This is a Colt Sporter. This is a very fine gun for small game, a fine varmint gun, a terrific gun for home defense, and there's absolutely no reason, if you are a responsible citizen, that you cannot own one of these or should not own one of these. There's no reason. So friends, please, now's the time. Join the Shootin' Show Gun Club, because you know what? We're going to do something about it. We're going to reach people all over this country. We're going to explain to them, one, how to safely use guns, how to safely have guns in the home, but also why we as shooters are in fact normal Americans. And again, in fact, the people who want to take these guns away, I think their motives should be highly suspect. So we're going to be talking about that a little later on in the show. Anyway, let's get another Shootin' Show underway. Like I said, a very fine a varmint gun, small game gun, also a terrific home defense gun. Well, let's see what this 41 Magnum looks like on this other water bottle. Well, friends, we have an unusual gun. At least it's unusual to me. I don't think it's going to be unusual to a lot of us before very long, because a large number of these guns are being imported into the country. This is a Baikal, and I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. It's B-A-I-K-A-L, and this is a real live, how about a Russian service gun? In fact, if my understanding is correct, this is the standard Russian-issue sidearm to the military. Now, they have some other handguns also, including different calibers, but this is a little different. We have a sort of an overgrown 9mm, or let's say an overgrown 380, which is the chambering this gun is in, and it is based very much on the Walther type semi-automatic pistol design. It has a fixed barrel. It's relatively easy to field strip, and relatively, it looks to be, and I said relatively, well made. No one really knows what the durability on these guns is, because I don't know anyone who's really shot one enough to really make any sort of judgment. It looks to be well machined. It has an adjustable sight, which we'll look at up closer in just a moment. But I tell you what, for what it is, I think it's a real bargain, because these guns are approximately the size of the 380 pistols that a lot of us are used to. And I say 380 because it's a 9 by 18, whereas a 380 is a 9 by 17, and a 9mm is a 9 by 19. So this is something that a lot of us have to learn some new terminology. The Makarov, as this gun is qualified, caliber 9mm Makarov, is not a true 9mm. Actually, it is a 363 thousandths of an inch bullet, so you can't shoot 380 ammunition in this gun. A 380 typically has a 355 thousandths bullet, and the Makarov here, of course, the bullet is a little bit larger, and this ammunition certainly would not chamber in a 380 pistol. The good news is there are a couple of companies, specifically now CCI Spear, that is making ammunition, non-corrosive ammunition, in fact, for these little guns, and it's readily available here in the United States. We have some Blazer ammunition we're going to be shooting a little later on today. Now, there's some surplus ammunition that is available for these guns, but I understand they do have corrosive primers. So if you do shoot some of the surplus guns, by all means take some RB-17, which of course you can get from us here on the show, or some other good cleaner, and when you get through shooting the gun, it needs to be cleaned pretty soon. In the Soviet Union, or the old Soviet Union, it was never a problem. They didn't really turn these guns loose to be shot much anyway. And of course, in the Soviet military, they looked at handguns as not a real important part of the soldier's armament. In our own military, a handgun, I think, has more importance. And you can see in comparison here to our Colt 45, which is still, in fact, in service with the U.S. military, along with the 9mm Beretta. But we always took handguns quite a bit more seriously. The Russians didn't. Of course, we have differing philosophies in a lot of areas, not only in just military. So now, of course, the Russians are selling literally anything that they can make because they're in such a straits for hard currency. So I think it's an opportunity. These guns are retailing for less than $200, and they look to be a real bargain. Again, I don't know what the durability is, but since it appears to be a mil-spec type pistol, I think it's certainly going to be within reasonable parameters of being rugged and reliable. We'll do some accuracy testing in just a moment with it. But it has, of course, we know that this gun is unloaded, yes. When you put the safety on, it has a hammer drop safety on the left side. We'll look at that in just a moment. And so you cannot carry the gun cocked and locked. Whenever you put the safety on, it's going to drop that hammer, which for some of us may be a good feature. For others of us, I don't know if we're too concerned about that. But it has the red star on the grip. It is marked Baikal, made in Russia. Again, it looks to be a nice package. You have the adjustable sights. So let's take a closer look at it. Now then, friends, as you can see, let's look at the ammunition for just a moment. On your left, we have the standard 38 or 380 ACP automatic Colt pistol. In the middle, we have the 9mm Makarov and the Blazer ammunition there from CCI Spear. And over on the right, we have the 9mm service round, which most of us will be familiar with. In fact, you can tell the 9mm Makarov there is certainly shorter by a little bit than the 9 on the right, and a little bit longer as far as the case goes as the 380 on the left. The velocity of the 9mm Makarov is about a 90 or so grain bullet running about 900 feet per second out of the Makarov pistol there. The 380 is approximately the same performance. It really pretty much duplicates 380 performance. And of course the 9mm with the service round there is going to run about 1150 or so feet per second with a 124 grain bullet. So really I think we're going to be safer in calling the 9mm Makarov much closer to the 380, which in fact it is. It is slightly larger. Seems like the Russians could have saved themselves a lot of time and trouble by using the 380 automatic Colt pistol, which was already there, or the pistol cartridge. But that's fine. They wanted to develop their own thing, and that's fine. That was up to them. But we may find this to be a very useful caliber within its limitations. And again, we'll check the accuracy in just a moment. Friends, you can tell this is not a very large pistol. In fact, I would probably qualify this Makarov as a pocket-sized pistol. Again, it's not very large. It's what we've come to think of as a service pistol would be. But you can see it's a nicely made gun. You have the slide release right here. Of course, here's your safety. You have a heel-type magazine release. And we'll take the magazine out, and you can see it holds 8 rounds in the magazine. You have windows on both sides, so you can tell just exactly how many are in the gun at any given time. And of course, let's check the gun and be sure it's unloaded, and we know it is. It has a rather small ejection port, but so far it's worked well for us. It does have, I'll tell you what, pretty nice adjustable sights, adjustable for windage and for elevation. And of course we know it's empty, and when you apply the safety, it drops the hammer and in fact locks the slide. Nothing can happen when that safety's in place. Again, well made. It has a fair action. The trigger pull is a little bit stiff, and we'll go ahead and push our safety down. Trigger pull is a little stiff in double action, but in single action it's not so bad. So again, for what these guns cost, it looks to be a real bargain for what it is. You know, friends, one of the things that this little gun comes with, it comes with a complete full flap type holster. It also comes with a spare magazine that has a little place right here on the side of the holster. Also comes with a cleaning rod. So I'll tell you what, it's an impressive package. It's well thought out. I wish that I could give you a report as far as durability goes, but I just can't. Again, I would think since it is its original intention was to be a service pistol, that it would have fairly good durability. Well, anyway, let's take a look at the gun firing. And you know, those of you who are new to our program, you see me poking at my ears occasionally. That's because I have these earplugs here, and as much as we shoot, if I didn't use hearing protection every time I shot, well, heck, I'd be deaf by now. So we never shoot any sort of firearm without hearing protection and without eye protection. This is so important. What we're going to do, the magazine loads just like any other semi-automatic, well, most of them anyway, in the base of the grip there, and we'll push our safety off so we can manipulate the slide, pull that slide all the way to the back, and let it go. And this is an all-steel gun, which I think might add somewhat to its durability. So this gun is cocked. Remember, we do not put our finger on that trigger till we're ready to shoot, but heck, let's shoot it a time or two and see what you think about it. It has sort of a snappy recoil. It definitely it throws the empties well clear. It's not bad. It's just kind of, that's the best way I can put it. It's just sort of snappy, you know, just. And of course, since we're through shooting the gun, we will push that safety on and it will decock safely. I don't know. It's a likable little gun. I can think of a number of uses since there is a limited selection of ammunition available. You're going to have to be very careful. If someone used this as a backup gun or a defensive type gun, one, you're going to get more penetration with that full metal jacket bullet than you would with a hollow point. And shot placement becomes really critical with this little gun, because what it's going to do is whatever you shoot, it's going to drill a 363 thousandths of an inch hole, and that's all. It's not going to expand at all. Now then, if you become proficient with the little gun and you can really place your shots, well, I think that it would certainly have some virtue. This is going to be for certainly a collector, someone who just enjoys all types of firearms. Or it also may be attractive to some of us out there who maybe can't afford a, say, an American firearm, something that we're much more familiar with. You can afford to get one of these guns and some ammunition. It looks to be very functional, so someone that might not even shoot very much would still get away with having this gun at home, because it is a mil-spec type gun. It's going to be a little more reliable than a lot of the semi-automatics out there. So let's see what it'll do on a paper target, and just see what kind of group we get.
Awesome firepower. Precision rifle skills. That's what you'll find, along with lots more, in these two great new videos, Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. See an actual firepower demonstration of the latest Marine Corps weapons of the infantry, including the M220 Ecto missile system, grenade launchers, mortars, and lots more. Plus the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, an incredible display of precision rifle handling skills by the most respected and admired rifle squad in the world. Two great new videos for one low price, just $19.95 through this special TV offer. Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. Two videos for the price of one. Call and order yours right now.
Call toll-free with your credit card ready, 1-800-942-8273. By ordering today, you'll receive this 32-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So order now, 1-800-942-8273. Call now.
We'll be right back with more of the Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
All right, friends, let's try our Makarov here. And I would like to say the good folks at Clark Custom Guns loaned us this gun for testing, because they are on sale here, And I don't believe that if they weren't pretty good guns, Clark Custom Guns would darn sure not sell these things. So let's see what it'll do out here at 15 yards, and we'll take a look at our group in just a moment. We'll load our gun, and we'll just leave it cocked. We'll shoot them all from the single action position. See what it'll do. All right, 5 rounds. Let's take a look at our group. Now then, friends, you can see this is not bad for 15 yards out. Now my aiming point was right here. I would need to adjust the sights over to the left just a little bit, which of course it has adjustable sights, easily done, and that's really not too bad. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised. Let's take our caliper here and see just in fact what it is. Well, I tell you what, how about 1.4 inches? So for ball type ammunition, for 5 rounds at 15 yards, I think that's pretty darn good performance from a Makarov. Well, friends, you can tell I'm impressed with the little gun. This would be comparable, you know, the 380 is comparable to the standard velocity 38 specials, and say a little revolver like a Charter Arms or a Chief Special, something like that. Certainly comparable to a 32 as far as in power. You're not looking at a tremendously powerful gun cartridge combination, but it does appear that these guns are reliable. They're easy to shoot well because you don't have much recoil. And if you want a semi-automatic gun, you know, the Clintonians, the people in Washington, may try and stop the import of these guns. And I would really hate to see it, because these are certainly a gun that a lot of us really enjoy owning and shooting. And if you didn't have very much money and you wanted a semi-automatic handgun, I think this would be, as I've said before on the show, a whole lot better than a stick or some rocks, believe me, because you can defend your life with one of these. It would not be my first choice, but I would not be, shall we say, uncomfortable if this is all I had. The Baikal, the Makarov, 9mm Makarov, the 9x18, there is ammunition out there, and now with a good number of these guns in the country, I think you're going to be able to find spare parts if you did happen to break something. But to tell you the truth, I'd like to shoot this little gun for a while and just see how it was going to hold up. But we do appreciate our good friends at Clark's Custom Guns in loaning us this. And I tell you what, the fun factor on the little Makarov is pretty darn high. Yeah.
And now, friends, we have a really special treat. We have our good friend Robert K. Brown, who's editor of Soldier Fortune magazine, that went on a deer and elk hunt recently in Colorado, and they took their video camera. So Bob is going to introduce us to some really interesting things and people. I think you're really going to enjoy this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Colorado at the annual Soldier Fortune hunting camp. Done a lot of hunting, haven't got any game yet, but what we're going to show you here is what we call the Tilton Hilton. I don't know why we're calling it the Tilton, but it's certainly the Hilton camp tent, this particular base camp area. And this whole operation facility, shall we say, was put together by Eddie Finn and Walt Voda, a couple of retired NYPD cops that have taken up hunting. They've been out with us a couple of years, and they've really got into this. So come on down, Carl, and let's look at how the elite live. All right, Bob, what's doing?
Bob Brown in his underwear.
Well, just let me introduce you. Bob Brown. I got some Patagonia on here. This is Expedition weight Patagonia, and it's very comfortable. This is Walt Voda, retired from the NYPD, a detective, I believe.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you detected, but anyhow, you're getting a pension. So, Bob McKenzie, Major McKenzie, was in Rhodesia for 10 years. Then get up here, Big John Donovan, who's a SOF's explosive demo editor. And then we got Eddie Finn over here, who actually got a deer last year. So here's what we have. we have this truly magnificent tent. I think we have to focus in first, Carl, on the welcome mat. Now, how come you guys don't have welcome on this thing? I mean,
We thought the daisy was enough. Yeah.
you know, this is just much too neat for me.
Well, I realize that.
We don't want to take any footage of my tent.
Well, and then we have this
But we're going to talk more about this
high-tech sleeping bag
weird
here.
sleeping bag here.
Like that thing, huh?
Where's your shotgun for bear?
Well, last I looked anyway. Right there. They're Benelli loaded with Brennicky slugs.
You got slug there.
Yeah.
What model is that?
That's a Benelli Super 90. This here is a Apex. Is the name of is the brand of the rifle. Weighs 4 3/4 pounds without the scope.
Oh, that's nice. Light then, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Mountain rifle.
Wow.
Full-size rifle.
Check the rounds, Robert.
You got a Leopold 3.5 to 10 on that with a 50mm objective lens on it.
There's some rounds over here in the corner.
There we go. Caliber is unusual.
Monster bullets.
Yeah. It's a 7mm shooting times Western, what they call a caliber. The company that makes this, or the model, is actually called a Cocoon 4. All right, and they call it a Cocoon from the movie, the Cocoon. And you have a down and air mattress and top piece. Now, zippers on both sides. You have an idea what it looks like here. It looks like. All right. The other side. Both pieces inflate individually. The more you inflate it, the warmer it gets. Take out this little sack.
Now, what's that sack for?
This is how you blow it up. All right. As I say, there's a valve just like that one on this side.
How do you blow it up?
I'm going to show you in a minute. So I'm going to take that top valve out, leaving the one-way valve exposed. All right. And all you do after that is open this thing. This was a sack in a supermarket. You close the top, and you just push air into it.
What's it take, about 2 years to fill it up?
Actually, the whole bag, start to finish, takes about 15 minutes.
I'll be darned.
All right. And they say you develop a rhythm, stuff like that. These straps, I'll get into it, if you like it.
It's like getting on a pump.
All right, now, these straps will go under your shirt. Get your arm in there. These straps actually fold under here. And the pillow piece, you want to put it back
Yeah,
together.
I need the pillow. I need the pillow.
Well, you can pull down until I put it back together. And there's a down-filled hood.
Oh,
And you wrap that thing around there.
oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, this is really...
Now, if you wanted the tent over you, then again, from the inside, you can zip this thing up on both sides.
Boy, I could float down the Mississippi on this.
Yeah, you probably could. Now you're pretty well kept in there. You can turn over on your side if you want. There's enough room for it.
Oh,
Put the pillow under here.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'll put this to test tonight and get sleep out in the open.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
Keep the frost out, get it out later for the bears, which I really don't need to see in the middle of my tent tonight. But maybe I'd get some bacon, send him over to yours.
Thank you very much.
I'm that kind of guy, what can I say?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to this segment of the Shootin' Show, being filmed at the Soldier Fortune annual elk and deer hunting camp. We're taking this opportunity to talk to some of the more interesting individuals that are members of the hunting party this year, and certainly one of the most interesting is the gentleman sitting to my immediate left here, Jim Warner, who, thank you, who is a former POW in Vietnam for 5.5
years.
5.5. He was a backseater in an F4 Phantom. Was shot down and enjoyed the hospitality of the North Vietnamese for 5.5 years. What is so unique, ladies and gentlemen, about this particular individual is that he actually has some funny stories, some humor that came out of his experiences over there. Most of the POWs I've personally known found very little humor in their experiences there. Jim, give us a quick background on how you got shot down.
Okay, making a run in North Vietnam, just north of the DMZ, flying in an F-4B, Marine Corps. We've been briefed 2 days before on what to do if you lose the PC-1 hydraulic system. The F-4 has no mechanical link-up. All it has is hydraulics to the flight controls. And the two hydraulic systems, the backup and the primary, are side by side through clever planning by the people who made the airplane. When you lose one, you've probably lost the other if you're pulling off target because you've taken a hit. We were briefed on what to do. We went up there, we pulled off target. My pilot said we took a hit. I said, Roger, clean off the airplane. There's a little button you push, it cleans everything off. Get wings level, had 050 because we had to get out over the sea about 10 miles out so the North Vietnamese wouldn't have time to get to us in their boats before the helicopters came and picked us up. He said, negative, I'm going to make another pass. I've got 6 bombs. So as he started to set up for the second pass, he called our wingman and said, I'm having all sorts of trouble. And the next thing I knew, there was a 700-mile-an-hour wind in my face. And he'd left. He didn't say goodbye. He left it in afterburner, heading downward.
How did you get punched out?
I punched myself out. And I came down. I was not happy about this. First of all, that's much too fast to get out of an airplane. It tore some of the panels out of my parachute. Guys had told me about how you can steer a parachute. And I'm not a jumper, so I don't know that. I'm told
you are now.
Yeah, well, I'm told by guys who know better that if I'd have tried to steer this one, I might have dumped all the air out and gotten down even faster than I wanted to. As I was coming down, I heard a lot of people yelling. Then I heard people shooting. And I looked around and noticed there were no airplanes in the sky, and they were too far from the DMZ to be shooting at Americans on the ground, so the only thing I could deduce is they were shooting at me, which really made me unhappy. It made me angry at them, so I started shooting at them, although I couldn't see them.
Were you shooting with your 45?
Yes, yes.
What did you have, a 45 or 38?
45. I traded my 38 in early on and got a 45 because I decided if I was going to have to shoot somebody, I'd like to make sure that it did the job.
You had a chance to reload?
Yes.
How many rounds did you get out when you were coming down?
Coming down, I don't know, 7. And then when I got on the ground, I reloaded and shot a couple times on the ground. And by the grace of God, the guys that I was shooting at, some incoming artillery hit where they were, so I didn't get blamed for whatever might have happened to them.
So they quickly apprehended you.
About 15, 20 minutes, they got me.
Well, let's jump forward to the point that you have arrived at your first imprisonment or prison camp. Where was the first one? You were in Sante one time.
First I went to a little bamboo place that was not much better than this hunting camp.
I beg your pardon.
Well, its sanitary condition wasn't quite as high. And the guy that ran it was not quite as gracious. And I was there for about 10 days. And then I moved. It took us about 45 days or 40 days to get to Hanoi from the DMZ. And then I was taken to the Hilton. I spent 8 months there, and then I went to Sante.
Why did they move you out of the Hilton, go back to Sante?
Well, it looks. We don't know why they ever did anything. We had a saying that you can't anticipate these guys, but mostly I think we were taken out of Hanoi because one of the guys in our cell was constantly arguing with me because I was adamantly opposed to the communists, to communism, to socialism, to anything totalitarianism or anything else where the state shares power that it doesn't have any legitimate right to share, and he did not share that opinion.
Sort of like in the United States.
Yeah, and he was really arguing with me, and it was getting very testy, and I guess the communists decided I was a bad influence on him, so they pulled us out.
We'll be right back with more of the Shootin' Show after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Now, friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry, along with information on pending legislation certainly of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call them at 1-800-727-4353. Again, 800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is. You know, friends, we're very pleased to bring you Bob Brown with Talking to Jim Warner. And one reason we want to really highlight Jim Warner is here's someone who was literally locked up by the North Vietnamese, by an alien country, for 5.5 years, and he survived because of his faith, because of his character, and his will to get past, and no matter what these people were going to do to him, he was darn sure going to make it back to civilization, absolutely. The man is really an inspiration. I count him as a friend of mine, and certainly all of us who are involved in this project, absolutely, Jim Warner. We're going to continue with Jim in just a moment, and we'll have different things, stories of his that are really amazing on programs in the future. But it's news time again, and you know, this is a Ruger Super Blackhawk. It's been around for many years, and these people that have passed the Brady Bill, who are so afraid of the 9mm pistol, well, you know, eventually they're going to find out that there's more power in one loading of this .44 Magnum revolver than in an entire magazine full of 9mm. It's only a matter of time, friends. They're starting now with the semi-automatics because they can, it's easiest to make a case because of what people have seen on television and the misuse of guns. See, that's not the problem. The problem is one of morality in America. The problem is one of morality and justice in our law enforcement situation, our political situation. And friends, we can do something about it. That's you and I. Myself and Kurt are going to be going out on our fun gun days starting next spring. All around the country, we're going to have days of education for people that don't know much about guns. And with your help, by joining the Shoot and Show Gun Club, you can help us reach more and more people. We're so pleased to be on the Outdoor Channel. You know, the Shoot and Show is now on 5 times a week for 1 hour each day, 5 days a week. And friends, we need it so desperately because we're going to talk about the truth, about things that are going on all around our country and things that are going on in Washington that's really ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous to literally disarm us, the law-abiding citizens, because some other people will not observe the law. So many of the shootings and killings that happen on the streets of America today are happening to people that have already been locked up for violent felony acts, and they've been turned loose and put on the street again. Well, friends, we have got to get our message out about why we have guns, why we need to have guns to the rest of America, because you know what? You can defend your own life. The police cannot take care of you. The police cannot protect you. So many of these people in Washington, at the upper echelons of local level politics, they've got their own bodyguards. They've got people that literally watch over them 24 hours a day. Friends, we are in support of the police in most cases. The problem is there aren't enough of them. You know, it only takes sometimes a few seconds for a crime to be committed. Well, I don't care how fast you are with a telephone, the policeman may be down the block. But in fact, the crime many times, whether it be some sort of assault or robbery or whatever else, takes place in just a few seconds. Sometimes seconds are what make all the difference in the world. Well, you know, friends, I haven't given up on the idea that we can take responsibility for ourselves, that we can be responsible people and literally defend our own lives. You can help. You can help the entire project. You can help get our message out. You can help yourselves as well as the rest of the country by joining the Shoot and Show Gun Club today. Our address, of course, is 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code is 71104. You can call 800-895-7916. And again, join the Shoot and Show Gun Club today. We have a $25 annual membership fee. You can buy whatever products are available in the Bullet Express, excluding the black box things, but anything that's in the Bullet Express and anything else we can get, which is tremendous numbers of things. If you're a member of the Gun Club, Shoot and Show Gun Club, for our cost, our wholesale cost, plus 10%, plus shipping and handling. So we'll be very pleased. Heck, if you buy very much stuff, you'll get your money back for the membership. Now, friends, we've talked about a couple of news items here in recent weeks, and here's one, an update. You remember we told you about a man in New York who was being mugged, and he shot his two robbers there, people who were trying to rob him. And listen to this. He will not face murder or manslaughter charges, but he was indicted Wednesday, and this is USA Today, Friday, November 26, 93. He was indicted on 2 counts of carrying an illegal weapon. Well, wait a minute. What about the people who were trying to rob him? I mean, doesn't that count for something? The man just defended his life. It turns out they had a BB pistol they held to his head, but you know, friends, if they had put that BB gun to his eyes, they would have blinded him for life. If they would have stuck it to his ear, they could have deafened the man, and who knows what. He could have faced some horrible torture at their hands. So he took care of it on the spot. Well, if he's convicted on the 2 counts of carrying an illegal weapon, listen to this now, he'd face a maximum of 22 years if convicted. Now, wait a minute. We've lost something here. We've lost touch with reality. The man was just defending his life. He was defending his well-being. I mean, doesn't that count for something? Yet, he broke the bad old gun law. So, I mean, where are we at? My goodness. Another piece here. This is from the Springfield, Missouri paper, the News Leader, Sunday, November 28. And listen to this. Government wants to disarm citizens. This is on page 9B, a column. And I'll paraphrase for you here. It says, quoting President Bill Clinton, spoke these words at a town meeting in Sacramento, California, October 3rd of this year. He said, now he believes we should have stronger gun control measures than the Brady Bill. For example, let him say again what he thinks we should do. He thinks we should pass one of a number of bills, which he calls good bills, which are in Congress, which would ban assault weapons. Well, he says we should have much stiffer penalties against possessing these weapons illegally. Then every community, listen to this, then every community in the country could then start doing major weapons sweeps, and then destroying the weapons, not selling them. Well, friends, first of all, we can't own assault guns. By definition, an assault gun is one that fires semi-automatic and fully automatic. It has a selector switch. And the only way you can buy a fully automatic gun is go through a tremendous background check, a tremendously thorough background check. It's a federal license is issued, and they have had almost zero problems since this law went into effect back in the 30s. Again, it's people trying to make laws and legislation who don't understand what they're talking about. And friends, this 1911 Colt, which has been around since 1911, or in fact, years before, we've had semi-automatics since right around the turn of the century. They want these guns away from us. Friends, their motive should be suspect here because we're not dealing with people that really understand what it's like in real life in America today. They really don't. They'd rather solve the social problems by throwing more money, more government programs, doing more of nothing, and just in fact making the situation worse. Well, friends, we've got to stop them. We have got to elect some people who actually listen to the majority of America. We talk to people literally all over the country every week, and I would like to add there are some very fine shooters, very fine patriotic citizens in the Northeast, whereas some other parts of the country say, well, the Northeast, those people don't think like we do. It's not true. Some of the finest people in this country are in the Northeast because we hear from them. We've got some great viewers up there, and we appreciate every one of you. Friends, we can do something about it. Join the Shootin' Show Gun Club. Help our program reach more and more people all over the country. Hey, it's got to be done because that Second Amendment is what keeps all the others in place. You know, the government should not be afraid of us, the honest citizen. See, that's what bothers me so much. If they're afraid to let us have these guns like they used to be afraid to let the people in the Soviet Union have firearms, well, you know they're going to be afraid to let us vote. If we're not responsible enough to take care of ourselves and defend our own lives, well, you know we may not be responsible enough to cast ballots at the ballot box. Maybe some committee somewhere who supposedly knows more than we as average citizens, maybe they should make our decisions for us. Not so, friends. We're not going to have it. Join the Shootin' Show Gun Club today.
Now, friends, we're going to show you the Thunder 5 revolver again today. We have probably had more phone calls on this particular gun than any other single firearm we've ever featured on the program. And I think I know why, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But here's the Thunder 5 with the 2 types of ammunition that it shoots. You have the 45 Colt cartridge on the right, and then you have the 410 shotgun shell on the left there. It also shoots one more, I think, load that will be very useful to a lot of us. It shoots the 410 buckshot. And this is specially loaded for the American Derringer type guns, but it does real well in the Thunder 5. It has 3 triple-aught pellets, one behind the other, and we'll look at what that does on the target in just a moment. But the Thunder 5 is a most unusual piece of work here, so let's take a look at it. Well, friends, here it is, and we want to do another feature on this gun because we have had such a tremendous amount of interest. My goodness, we've had calls from everywhere about the Thunder 5. And we do know a couple of people involved in the manufacturing marketing process, and they're very nice people. And this is a test gun that we've had for long-term type situations. The Thunder 5 is one of the most unique handguns that I've ever encountered. It is one of those guns that sort of defies description. You just have to see one and look at it. It is different from most revolvers. It does have a safety, and of course most revolvers have an automatic safety. It does have an ambidextrous lever type safety on the gun. It also has a transfer bar type safety, so the likelihood of an inadvertent discharge with this particular gun is odds are very much against that. But I do understand why this has been such a popular or intriguing gun to a lot of people. You know, a lot of people that don't shoot regularly are somewhat uncomfortable with handguns because they haven't handled them enough, they haven't shot them enough to really be confident. Well, heck, they figure what they can't hit with one bullet, like out of this Smith & Wesson 41 Magnum, if they have a shotgun shell, well, they're much more likely to hit a particular target. Well, and that's certainly true. I would have to say this is a limited purpose gun. The accuracy out at 20 yards or so with the 45 Colt Slug is not going to be that terrific, but for up close and personal with the shotgun shell, this makes an awfully good personal defense type weapon. I can see all kinds of uses for a 410 shotgun. If you live in an apartment complex and you want a gun that is powerful, is going to have a great deal of authority, shall we say, up close and personal, but over in the next room it's not going to go through and kill somebody who may be in bed or certainly injure somebody next door, well, this is really a viable alternative to a lot of guns that we're familiar with. The Thunder 5, of course, is a 5-shot revolver, and let's take a look at it up a little bit closer.
You know, not that many years ago, there was a gun in virtually every American homestead. Hi, I'm Grits Gresham. And if you own a gun today, be sure that you know how to use and store your gun in a safe and proper manner. If you don't, make it a point to learn. Safety instruction is available at many shooting ranges and gun clubs throughout the country. And remember, safety is where responsible gun ownership starts. This message is a public service of this station and the National Shooting Sports Foundation.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now, friends, you can see it is not a small handgun. It has about, I'd say 2.5 inch or 2 inch barrel there, but your cylinder, of course, is what is so different from what we're used to seeing. But there is a reason for it. The cylinder latch here is right under the barrel, and the cylinder comes out to the left on the gun. You can see the ambidextrous safety. You have a lever here on both sides, and what it does, it blocks the hammer. The hammer cannot possibly hit the firing pin, which is really somewhat redundant if you ask me, because you already have the transfer bar type safety anyway. But if the safety is in place, nothing will happen. The hammer absolutely cannot hit anything. It can't get far enough forward to really even come close to striking the firing pin. These guns are well made. They're not inexpensive, but they are definitely one of a kind, and recoil is really not that bad. Of course, you have a sight here, and of course on the front of the frame here, rudimentary at best, but they do work for their intended purpose. Now friends, again, this gun is really not going to be as effective as some others out at a distance. We're going to go ahead and load it with 45 Colts, 255 grain lead bullet at about 600 or 700 feet per second out of this gun. And let's just see what it'll do on our target out here at 15 yards. I'm going to aim at the bottom of the circle. We'll see where the bullets go. Well, off to the right a little bit. Let's see how close it puts the next one. Well, okay, we have about roughly at 15 yards, we've got about a 4-inch pattern, as I can easily see from here. But again, that was accurate enough to hit a larger target. Say all of them would have been in a pie plate out there easily. In fact, quite a bit less than that at 15 yards. But let's see it at what the gun. Let's shoot it at the range in which I think it's really intended to be a defensive gun. Now then, friends, let's put our 3 buckshot loads. In fact, we're going to put 3 shells in the chamber and close it up there. Now, this gun is really designed to be a close-range defense gun. You know, I believe this could go a long ways toward stopping carjackings, because one thing, if somebody came upon you with a gun or a big knife, you could pretty much stop. One, the intimidation factor is outrageous on this Thunder 5, but also if you had to shoot somebody, you know, I don't even like to say those words, shoot somebody. This is terrible, but unfortunately it is the situation we live in today in our society. We have a violent society caused in no small part by some of the lunatic type ideas that people have had about welfare and all sorts of other ideas. I'm sorry that we're in the shape we're in, but my goodness, as responsible citizens, we have to deal with it and cope with it the best way possible. Well, here's an alternative to a carjacking. Let's see what the triple-aught buckshot, 3 of them, look like right quick on this close-range target. My goodness. Well, see, friends, we have a total of 9 holes here for 3 shots with our Thunder 5, and that's pretty ferocious stuff. Very little recoil, certainly for the amount of power you're getting there. Well, let's take a look at, let's load our shot shells in here, and what the ejector does, it will push the ejector star out, extractor star out far enough so that you can pull the hulls out with your fingers. It is not a rapid loading or reloading type gun, but it is certainly adequate for its intended purpose. Up close and personal, believe me, I don't think you'd need a reload with some of these things that are available. So let's move down here. Here we have our paper target, and let's shoot our 5 3-inch Magnum number 4s, in fact, Remington number 4s, and let's see what it looks like here on the paper target. Well, friends, that's a large hole. So, again, up close and personal is where this gun is designed to be used, and yes, they are useful. I believe I can put my my hand through there pretty easy, and I have a size large fist there. This would not, on an animal or something like that, you wouldn't have a hole that large, but there would be a tremendous amount of destruction. And you know, we don't think about killing something. We don't talk about shooting to kill. We talk about shooting to stop. If someone here, if this was an individual with an upraised knife, I could care less about killing that person. We don't even like to think about that, but I darn sure want to stop him. And whatever it takes, I want to stop him, because, you know, every one of us is responsible for a lot of other people's feelings. Each one of us, if we're injured, will think about our wife, our husband, our children, our parents, our neighbors, our brothers, sisters, our cousins. There are a lot of people out there that care about every last one of us. We have an obligation not only to ourselves, but to all of these people that care about us to do the very best things we can to defend ourselves. So absolutely, the Thunder 5 here is an option that should not be taken lightly. These are well-made guns, and in fact, right now we're going to tell you how you can find out more information on the Thunder 5 410/45 Long Colt.
And let me add that if you live in an area that has poisonous snakes that may be a threat to you or your family, certainly around a campsite or wherever else, the Thunder 5 is probably the ultimate snake gun to end all snake guns. It was definitely terrific on taking care of pests and snakes like that. Anyway, for information on where you can get a Thunder 5 or information about the gun, call our good friend C.L. Reedy & Associates at 1-800-654-0797. Again, call them at 1-800-654-0797. You know, friends, as gun enthusiasts, all of us should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots, with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains, 3 big issues monthly. Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. That zip code is 68902. For MasterCard or Visa subscriptions only, call them at 1-800-345-6923.
You know, friends, there are all sorts of alternatives to firearms that we have to talk about from time to time, because, you know, as much as, I tell you what, there's not much that I wouldn't think I could deal with this model 657-41 Magnum. But there are times when I can't have that 41 Magnum with me, and we have, of course, tremendous numbers of women who are watching our program now. And here is another alternative, certainly a defensive alternative, and this is the pepper defense spray. And what this is a derivative of capsicum pepper. In fact, this is souped up cayenne type pepper. Now, friends, what it has, you have a mixture here, and this particular pepper spray has a red dye in it, which will be real difficult to get off. Now, as I've said before on the program some time ago, this is not for every purpose, although for say if a dog was about to bite you, it's very effective on dogs, because the pepper, if it hits the mucous membranes like the eyes or the nasal passages, you breathe this stuff, well, that individual is just about going to be down for about 30 minutes. Now, the beauty part is there is no lasting damage done to someone you might have to squirt with this stuff, but trust me on this one, they will be uncomfortable for a while. One of the disadvantages, if you have to use this, say, inside a rest area or something like that, if you spray this stuff, then you have got to get away from it. And if there were a stiff breeze coming your way, you would not want to use it, because if you squirt it in the air, it's going to come back on you. And if it hits you, you're in a lot of trouble, because this is some ferocious stuff here. The pepper sprays work on people even that are drinking and using drugs, whereas mace products in the past have proven to not always be effective on people using drugs or on drinking. So who is going to be more likely to bother you anyway? Someone who is drunk or using drugs. Think about it. So this is a real good alternative. Now, you can buy this in our catalog, the Bullet Express. This is the 3/4 ounce model with the holster here. It's for $9.25 plus shipping and handling, and you can get this from us here on the program. So let's see, we have our paper target here, and let's just see. This particular type, you do not have to unsnap it. You can just press on that top, and of course you want to be real careful carrying this on your key ring or anywhere else, because you don't want to squeeze it. You don't want this to go off, but unless you really want it to. But let's see what it looks like on our paper here. We'll just turn and we'll spray. Now see, friend, that's serious stuff right there. And this dye, and of course it squirts for a good while. Let me back up. The wind, thankfully, is going that way. But see, friends, that made a pretty good stream. I think it'll even work from out here. Let's try it and see. We'll just squirt like so. Absolutely, not too bad at all. And believe me, anything that this stuff hits in the mucus area, you can see it's a squirt, but it's sort of a spray also. So you're definitely going to be able to douse somebody real good with that stuff. And you know how I'm going to handle this target? I'm going to wait a while. I'm going to let it die down before I even touch it, because I don't want that stuff on my hands, because I might fool around and get it in my eyes. But again, it is not for every purpose, but for those times and situations when we cannot always carry a handgun, this is a darn good alternative. And believe me, it may help save your life. So you can get this from us here the Bullet Express for $9.25 plus shipping and handling. And this is something that we would, again, add to our defensive battery.
I'm Bill McIntyre with another update from Capitol Hill here at NRA headquarters right behind me in Washington, D.C. In election 1993, the real leadership in America, the people, spoke to the need for criminal justice reform, bearing out what NRA has said, and our new banner on our building says, "It's the criminal, stupid." Tough anti-crime platforms supported by the NRA each carried voter support. Wherever there was an anti-crime platform, the results were a resounding loss for criminals. In Virginia, Democratic candidate Mary Sue Terry ran a campaign that failed to promote workable solutions to the problem of violent crime. When Terry tried to make NRA an issue, her once 30-point lead vanished. The people didn't buy it. Voters approved Republican candidate George Allen's tough criminal justice reforms and rejected Terry's gun control and NRA-bashing rhetoric. NRA-backed George Allen said violent criminals are the problem, not Virginia's honest gun owners. Allen supports abolishing parole for violent offenders, truth in sentencing, and letting juries know the history of convicted criminals before they're sentenced. In New Jersey, Governor Jim Florio tried to run against the NRA, but he couldn't run away from his failed record on crime. Seeking change and seeing through Florio's diversionary campaign tactics, voters cast ballots for his opponent, Christine Whitman. NRA looks forward to working with Governor-elect Whitman to forge meaningful anti-crime solutions to turn the tide against crime. In Washington state, voters slammed the door on repeat violent criminals by passing an NRA-supported measure to lock up three-time violent offenders for good. Voters were fed up with the legislature's failure to deal with crime and took control through the initiative process. In Texas, voters passed two NRA-backed propositions. One denies bail to violent criminals and sex offenders, and the other is a billion-dollar referendum to build jail space. The 1993 election was a referendum on criminal justice reform. The American people voted for real solutions like tougher prison sentences, the abolition of parole, prison building, and an end to bail. Opinion polls have indicated that criminal justice reform was the most important issue for voters, confirming that people fear violent criminals, not the law-abiding gun owner. I'll be back next week with another update from Capitol Hill.
Well, friends, we've run out of time again. But next week, we're going to have some Soldier of Fortune convention footage that I know you're really going to enjoy. And please, friends, join the Shootin' Show Gun Club. Help us do something about the mess that's going on around us. Absolutely. Thanks again from Kurt and myself for all the people who have joined. And, hey, we're on our way. Now, doggone it, we got to do something. Until next week, we'll see you on another Shootin' Show.